everybody.
Well, hi, friends from Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, the Pope asked the world to pray to save Pope Emeritus Benedict.
Yeah.
And God didn't listen. So.
Well, depends. Maybe some people didn't pray as hard enough. Maybe people weren't that jazzed about praying.
If you didn't hear about it, which would be shocking at this point, former Pope Benedict XVI has passed away. He was 95 years old, and we're going to be talking about all of that in the second half of the show. First, we have some stories of the news of the week and whatnot.
Yes, some various things. By the way, I just want to get this out of the way up front.
Oh.
I am getting over a cold.
Oh, Dan.
Please pardon any grossness that you hear in my voice. I'll try and just keep it low and sexy.
Yeah, keep it to yourself, Dan. Is what I'm asking.
I will try not to speak on the podcast
today. Something happened here in the state of Utah, Dan. Our Supreme Court heard a case having to do with parental rights, I suppose. It involved the case of a former polygamist woman who had divorced her still polygamist husband, who's a member of the Kingston group, known as the Order.
The Order.
This is not these people. Whatever you've seen, everyone on TV about the fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that's this, but probably a little worse, right? A little creepier in some ways.
It's hard to say. Like, it's literally, there are many different little tiny baby scary sects of fundamentalist Mormonism. So don't think that you have them all figured out, because you don't.
They're hard to keep track of. I will say I used to live down the street from some Kingstons, but yeah,
there you go.
They were fine. But anyway, the court overturned a previous ruling from a lower court that had granted primary custody to the children's mother and had also barred the ex-husband from discussing religion, essentially, with any of the children.
Oh, dear.
And the higher court has sided with the father.
I don't like that.
This is a really gross one.
I'm not happy currently.
The court ruled that the father can talk about his faith and any other faith, because that's going to happen a lot.
Oh yes, because he might be interested in telling them about Hinduism.
But any major life decisions about whether they would be baptized remains with his ex-wife, right? Who has the sole legal custody.
Okay.
Right.
So she has discretion to, like. He can't sneak away and baptize them against her will.
Correct. That would be a violation.
But he can sour them against her about it.
Absolutely. The court was actually split. It was a 3-2 decision. And the dissent came from Associate Chief Justice John Pierce, who says, we are presented with an unchallenged factual record that demonstrates that if given the opportunity to influence his children's religious upbringing, the father will harm his children. The evidence in record, evidence we are duty-bound to accept as true, reveals that the father will harm his children by, among other things, promoting a religious culture that will encourage his daughters to be child brides. The evidence...
So he literally said that there are some religious cultures that harm children. He actually said that.
He's willing to say it. He's willing to say it. The evidence shows that the father will teach his children to obey authority figures who will instruct them to reject people outside the order, people including their own mother. Against this factual backdrop, the district court did not err when it concluded that the mother alone should exercise all of the parental rights associated with religion. So this other, the Supreme Court, the three justices who voted in favor of the father. Yeah, they're trying to like, parse this out where it's like, well, they're basically saying this needs to be like this narrowly decided, decision where it's only about, the right to baptize, basically.
And of course the father has the free speech right to express his own sincerely held religious views.
And,
why wouldn't he be able to express his religious views? Because he's trying to turn his kids against their mother.
And the article points that out, that the essentially the Supreme Court, the Utah Supreme Court, is sidestepping the First Amendment issue. That they just don't even want to address it. They're like,
and
no.
I understand that, like, you don't want to address those sorts of things, but the problem here is that what they're actually sidestepping is the question of, can just saying, your religious beliefs harm children? And guess what? Yeah, they can.
Absolutely.
And that's not just limited to a kooky whackball religion like fundamentalist Mormonism.
Sure. Yeah.
Guess what? Telling kids that they could go to hell. One of the audio clips that I decided against using for our audio this week, but I considered, was Michelle Bachmann bragging on a show that she felt prompted to tell her like 4 and 6-year-old grandchildren that all about hell, and all about how if you're good you go to heaven, and if you're bad you go to hell. And like, she's just gleefully talking about how her tiny little niece or nephew looked up at her and said, "I don't want to go to hell." And guess what?
Like, good.
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, let's pray about it and whatever." But no, guess what? You have just started them down the path of trauma.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah, it's startling that the state is unwilling to protect children from polygamy in this state. That's right.
And the
because,
larger thing is that I get it, because then they have to start asking themselves, do we need to protect children from religion in general, which that's too scary for them.
Well, yeah. And also just the fact that like, they don't want to touch polygamy in this state. And that is true, right? Like it took Arizona going after the polygamists on the southern border, right?
Yeah.
Like Utah wouldn't do anything about it, but Arizona was like, there's our like children like being raped, right?
Yeah,
like, we got to shut this fucking thing down, and they did.
You can't. It doesn't matter if you call it marriage. If they're underage, that's statutory rape, friends.
Yeah, and Utah just can't get past its weird history with polygamy. I mean, truthfully,
well,
like it's
and down south, there are all these elected officials who are then sent up to Salt Lake.
Fair enough.
Anywho, so I'm going to take us to the great state of New York, that liberal haven of New York, where back in I think May and June, the General Assembly and the State Senate of New York, it was March and June, passed a bill. And this is a bill that addresses a very real problem that is present in so many of the states of the United States of America.
Okay.
And it's stupid and it's easy to fix.
Okay.
And that problem is that in many, many states, there is, so if you are arrested for drug abuse or for alcohol abuse, and you are sentenced, you're convicted and then sentenced, a judge can sentence you to rehab.
Oh yeah.
Now that's probably better than jail. And so, good. We want people to get the help that they need. But judges can specify which rehab they want you to go to. And frequently, they will force people to go to, for instance, Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or whatever. These are places that require you to profess a belief in a higher power.
Correct.
That's bullshit. For people like us, that fucking sucks.
Right.
You can be literally court ordered to profess a belief in a higher power. Now they have workarounds. They say it doesn't have to be God. It can be blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. That's just not how it works.
Right. We know we're just picking a stand-in here for God.
Yeah.
Right.
We know everybody here knows that you're just winking and nodding.
Yeah. I believe in gravity.
Right, exactly. My higher power is my dad. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, fuck you. We know what you mean when you say higher power.
Right.
And also, not for nothing, those are not the most effective. Like there has been lots of research done since AA.
Right.
And we know that that's like one of the least effective rehab methodologies. It has worked for some, and God bless, if it worked for you, great.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that it is the most effective. It's actually one of the worst. So here's the thing. New York State, the state assembly, the state senate, they finally pass a law that says that you have the option of a non-theistic, a non-higher power demanding rehab. Great.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great.
That's good move. Thank you.
So it hits the desk of Democrat Senator or Governor Kathy Hochul. Hochul? I don't know how she pronounces it. And she fucking vetoed it.
What?
She has gone off the rails with a bunch of weird vetoes that I do not understand at all, including a bill. It doesn't allow the construction of a school near a major roadway.
Yeah. Okay.
That seems nice. That seems good.
One. Yeah.
Vetoed. There's one that established an office of racial equality racial equity and social justice. Vetoed. This is not.
Boy.
I think she might not be a real Democrat.
Dan.
I don't know. She's a dino. Anyway, but yeah, literally this bill had this bill about rehab had bipartisan support. It passed both houses. It was doing great. There was no possible reason to veto this. It didn't cost any money.
Right.
It actually probably saved some money, and it helped some people like us, like atheists, but also, people, maybe some Buddhists or whatever, who don't want to talk about a God or a higher power. It literally it was just a good accommodation.
Yeah.
And she vetoed it.
What?
And the only thing that I can think of is that, she's Catholic. She likes making people admit that there's a God. I don't know.
Weird.
She has literally, her office has said nothing on it.
That's upsetting. So
I find it deeply upsetting. So if you meet Governor Hochul,
however you
if
say
you're
her
out there
name.
and you meet her, ask her about it,
Yeah.
and then let us know what she says. Get her on camera.
That would be
and
great.
just ask her.
Yeah.
Because fuck you,
Yeah.
Kathy
Hochul or whatever your name is. All right. So Dan,
Yes.
I've got a military story here.
Ooh, I like the military.
Yes, having to do with the U.S. Marines, who have.
My dad was a Marine.
Was he really?
Yes, he was.
Huh.
Way back in the
That's
day.
really interesting, actually.
Yeah. He was full of surprises, that dude. Semper Fi.
Yeah, the U.S. Marine Corps has lost a court case. Where they are now required, or they were trying to, I guess let's just get to that. They were trying to keep specifically Sikh recruits, that's members of the Sikh community, the
Indian religious.
Yes, exactly.
Order, yeah.
Trying to keep them from wearing beards or turbans.
Both of which are required by their religion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They wanted them to shave, and it was just too individualistic for the Marine Corps. Now the thing
which is funny because that's actually the excuse that they gave.
It
I'm
is.
sorry. I also saw this.
Yeah.
I read this article, and they were like, No. They look different. We can't. I thought maybe they would like present some sort of bullshit like military reason why everybody had to be,
like the turban would,
or something.
The turban would get snagged on
or something,
a part of the boat or something.
Nope. They just like it when everybody looks exactly the same.
Yes, indeed. And the courts rejected that. They said they actually pulled out other examples of, you already allow tattoos, right? And that's a highly individualistic, like self-expression, right?
Right.
And also, not for nothing, in basically the entirety of the rest of the U.S. military allows this accommodation, right?
Yeah.
The Marine Corps, which is part of the Navy, many of their officers are actually trained at the Naval Academy, which accommodates beards and the wearing of the same religious articles that Sikhs wear, right?
And not just beards, also not just beards for Sikh men, but like literally, if you have a medical issue, you can have a beard.
That's correct. Yeah, the article actually points out that men with razor bumps, which is a skin condition from shaving, are exempted from shaving. So yeah, they've already had a number of accommodations on the books. So that's good. It's good to know. Thank you, U.S. Marines. Marine Corps.
Oh my God.
Just seems like the right thing to do, and also just be consistent.
Well, it's just so funny because what has become clear is that the reason that they don't want to allow it is because no.
Yeah.
It's not because reason. It's because I like it my way, and I don't like these damn Muslims coming in. I'm sure they think they're Muslims. I'm 100% certain that they think that they're Muslims.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all I can say is there's a photo here of some men in uniform wearing a turban. I think it's a great look.
It is a good look.
I think they should just adopt it across the board. Right?
We are now a turban country.
Have everybody wear a turban with their military uniform. It looks good. It looks sharp. And
you can actually, you know what? Build a helmet that has a turban over it. Then you get the look and you get the protection.
Yeah. Best of both worlds right there.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Well, since my last story was castigating New York City, or rather New York State, I'm going to stay in New York, and I'm going to dive into the city. One thing that New York did that was great was that the city decided to make it much easier to get special education money where it's needed.
Oh, okay.
It was getting tricky. Some of the special education needs of students in New York City were not being met.
Okay.
And so in 2014, then Mayor Bill de Blasio basically just made it so that approvals for requests for extra money, because schools don't have consistent numbers of special ed students, so they need more money. Great, we'll fast track that. We'll get it to you. That all seems very good.
Mm-hmm.
Fully half of the requests for new money suddenly came from the Orthodox Jewish community, the yeshivas, the private schools of the Hasidic and Orthodox communities. And that is because they decided that they wanted to prove the negative stereotypes true, and get sneaky and money grubbing. Because what they started to do was basically encourage all parents to have their children declared special needs. To have their children diagnosed with special needs.
Here's a doctor. Go to this doctor.
Yeah. They had their own doctors and they would get these diagnoses so that then they could get more money. Did the money go to special education?
No.
Almost never. Like, so little of the new money that they just saw it as a giant cash grab. All we have to do is lie about something horrible. Is be genuinely bad people and lie and make our kids go to a doctor and be diagnosed with an issue that they do not have. And then look how much money our schools get.
Holy shit.
It's just free money for the schools. We'd be fools not to do it.
Oh my God. This story though, Dan, is a joke minefield.
Right?
There are so many things I want to say that you just cannot say.
That means that your brain is anti-Semitic, Frank.
No, it's not anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
There's things you can't say about special
about
special needs.
Oh my God, it's everything. It is anti-Semitic and it's anti-special special education.
I keep my mind in check. I see where the jokes are.
Sure.
I know what they are. I just go, I can't say that one.
There is ripe and plump low-hanging fruit, ladies and gentlemen.
We're showing great restraint here.
It is all around us. But as Frank said, there's grenades inside. It is explosive. No, yes. I think I made the only anti-Semitic joke we're allowed in the whole thing.
And I won't go near the other one. So
gross, you guys.
That's awful.
It's so disgusting.
What is the city doing? Are they going after him?
I don't know.
So
honestly,
the story
this was just
broke, basically.
It was an expose in the New York Times.
Wow.
I will see if the city actually does anything. But God, if you don't want negative stereotypes, don't do the ugly things.
No kidding.
Anyway, don't blame all the Jews for this. This is not a Jewish problem. It is a problem with these people in this community.
Correct.
And they really need to sort themselves out.
Yes. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
I'm going to take us to a story about an Iranian chess player. Wow.
Oh.
This is,
that's
a female Iranian chess player.
Oh, okay. Wait, can I guess what the story is going to be about?
As long as you haven't actually read it.
She didn't put a hijab on the queen when she went into play.
No. She herself did not wear a hijab.
Okay. Well, I was in the ballpark.
Yeah. She was playing, participating in an international tournament in Kazakhstan, I want to say.
These chess hotspot of Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. And she's ranked. She is a ranked player. She's the 804th player in the world for chess, which, you know what?
Impressive.
That's impressive. You've shown up on a list of people who play chess and you're good. You beat most everyone else in the world, right? There are billions of people that you could beat at this game. Anyway, so she it doesn't seem like she made a big deal about it, but the media picked up on it. And, as
they will.
Yeah. So there are now photos of her around playing chess without a hijab on, which should be completely not a story, right? But of course, this is in the context of everything that's going on in Iran right now. And
you can't be an Iranian woman without everyone going, what is she wearing on her head?
Yeah. And people and women, Iranian women going out into the world because they're good at something, right? Whether it's a sport or whatever. And now it's to the point in Iran, it seems that wearing a hijab or not wearing a hijab is going to be a huge statement. Either one is a statement, right? Like if she'd shown up and was wearing a hijab, there probably would be stories about that, probably mainly in Iran. But yeah.
I mean, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't as an Iranian woman at this point.
I mean, you're really damned if you don't. Like
Yes,
it's
literally.
they're executing people in Iran for protesting right now. So
Well, and also, Allah will sentence you to an eternity in hell. So there is that.
yeah,
Do they have
yet
hell?
another.
What do they have?
It's something like it. But yeah, another Iranian woman standing up for what's right. This thing in Iran, it keeps going. It is, who knows where it's going to go, but it is inspiring to see these young people, because it's primarily a young movement, standing up, and the fact that like there's so many young men standing up with the young women. It's really, really, really amazing.
You know what it is?
What's that?
It's that TikTok. It's changing the world.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
And it probably also sucks to live under that regime, and people are
God.
tired of it. So
we need to get folks out. Anyway, there you go. I'm glad that some things are happening.
Yeah.
To close us out, are you looking forward to Christmas, Frank?
Which Christmas are you talking about, Dan?
Christmas, it's coming up. It's in like a week.
You talking about Orthodox Christmas?
The Orthodox Christians, or some of the here's the thing. Up until the early 20th century, Orthodox Christians curmudgeonly stayed on the Julian calendar. Did not switch to the Gregorian calendar because a pope was the one who invented it. It was Pope Gregory. And so they just grumpily stayed on the Julian calendar. Now, the problem with the Julian calendar is that it's a misestimation of how much time there is in an actual Earth orbit of the sun. So it gets wrong the amount of time that it takes. And so the days keep shifting. They just, over time, they move to different seasons, to different times of anyway. So the Orthodox religions, the Orthodox Christianity, everybody celebrated Christmas on the same day at one point, and then Orthodox Christmas just started moving. So now, so Orthodox Christmas currently, for the ones who continue to be on the Julian calendar, which only a bunch of the Orthodox Christian sects decided to update and change it, and they still refuse to call it the Gregorian calendar, but then they call it the revised Julian calendar, and they and anyway,
how
they
could
got
this possibly be a thing in
they
the
got
world,
their Christmas,
this world today in the 21st century?
That's right.
How could this possibly be a thing?
So a few of them, the Greeks are now on December 25th.
Oh, good.
A few, they're a pretty big thing. So some are on December 25th. Some are on January 7th.
Yeah.
Well, a new group has shifted back to December 25th.
Oh.
And that is the Ukrainian Orthodox people.
Okay.
Who really are very, very motivated to be as much not like the Russian Orthodox Christians as they can possibly be.
Fair enough.
Russian Orthodoxy is one of the big holdouts for the Julian calendar, and therefore they celebrate on January 7th. By the way, in less than 100 years, it'll move to January 8th because of the drift.
I have to say, and I completely understand their motivation, Dan. If you were in Russia and having to celebrate Christmas in winter, right, you would probably want it to shift eventually to a nicer season, right?
Maybe if we change it a little more, we could get it into spring. Can we get it if we push a little harder?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we actually adjust to not a Julian calendar, but better calendar?
Yes.
I don't know. Can we get to March? Maybe April is best time.
Yeah. They need to pick up the pace like a little bit with this. Yeah. Takes 100 years to get it a day, but like
I don't know how long it takes to gain a new day. Anyway, Ukrainians a little grumpy about the Russians lately.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so the some Orthodox Ukrainians. So there's still Russian Orthodox in Ukraine, although I think that they've been completely outlawed at this moment. Because they were funneling information back to Russia.
Yeah.
But Ukrainian Orthodox Christians are now sort of tentatively dipping their toes in the December Christmas territory, just to separate themselves
even
from
further.
Russia.
Yeah. Good for them.
So there you go.
Welcome to the 25th, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you had a good Christmas. Plus, you get your presents before those filthy Russian kids get theirs, so Santa can. So you know all the good stuff that's coming. Anyway, listen, friends, if you would like to tell us what date you celebrate Christmas, please feel free to write into us or talk to us about any of the things we've talked about today on the show. Write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to play it on the show. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
All right, Frank. I'm going to play for us a clip, some audio. We do this every week. Today, last week we talked. We played a clip. I try not to play the same person twice in a row.
Right.
But I'm gonna. Last week we had Jonathan Shelley, sort of upbeatly asking for more members as he was also talking about getting kicked out of his current strip mall and not having a location for his church.
Right.
Which did happen. No one will rent to them. No one will lease to them. That's delightful. Well, now he has, it's just a message aimed directly at all of us, all us atheists, specifically calling out Hemant Mehta, of the Friendly Atheist, a steadfast, why did I call him that? He's a steadfast atheist, but I was literally looking at the word steadfast because that's preacher Jonathan Shelley's church. Is a steadfast church. Anyway, he's got some words about us. I think he's got a good bead on who we are and what we're about.
Good.
Social media has given rise to a lot of atheists because it's the perfect vacuum for them to get up and just blow their mouth about nonsense. And they just keep gaining more stupid, lazy followers like them that have nothing to do. You know, people like Hemant Mehta, the stupid atheist that has nothing to live for, has no skills, no talent, and just simply wants to just blow his mouth off and curse God. And of course, he only has a following because there's a bunch of other idiots that follow him. I mean, the guy is scum. He doesn't contribute anything to society. All he does is just blow off his mouth and say foolish nonsense. He's not helping families. He's not helping young people. He's not encouraging marriage. He's not helping people work hard. All he does is just attack churches. He's not building a church. You know, and the stupid thing about atheism is if atheism was even true, the worst thing you could ever do is convince everybody else that atheism is true. Because the only thing holding back everybody from killing you and raping you and doing everything else is their belief in Christianity. The problem is you don't have a superior life. You have nothing to show for it. I mean, where is Hemant Mehta's all his wonderful children that he has modeled for us? Where is this? You know, where's all the atheists that are raising families of 8, 10, 12 children to follow and carry on their name, that are great contributors to society? Of course, when these atheists even have kids, they're typically even worse than them. Because they're raised by an atheist. And they typically have all kinds of serious issues, drug addiction, adultery, filled with all kinds of diseases, just morons, just destroying themselves. And if you're the exception to that, great. But, you know, virtually every atheist is destroying his entire life and lineage. Look at Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1.
Well, there you go.
Oh, my. Damn.
I'll tell you one thing he nailed about me.
What's that?
I am full of disease right now. He got me on that one.
Oh, and he's never been sick in a day in his life, I'm sure.
Man.
And just raising the most marvelous 8 to 9 children
Brood of children
who are just
damn
the finest people in the world, I'm sure. Because
there's no children in any Christian sect with drug problems or
never. Well,
certainly not the preacher's kid. The preacher's kid doesn't. They're the ones that always turn out perfect. So
it's a great strategy too. Like just have tons of kids so you can pay them a lot of attention each. Make sure they don't slip through the cracks.
It worked well. Like it's a guarantee. It worked so well for the Duggars. I mean, look at them. Yeah. Nothing bad happened with any of them. So
like unless you're staffing a farm, there is no reason to have that many kids.
Oh my God. It is like everything you said, it just keeps getting stupider and stupider. Wow. Although he does have Hemant on the fact, I don't know if Hemant has kids, but I'm guessing he probably doesn't have 12.
Mm-hmm.
So get your act together, Hemant.
Good Lord.
Oh, man. He's got our number for sure. All right. Well, speaking of godless heathens, we had some folks, some horrible people write into us. Our listeners wrote into us, called into us. Naomi wrote in, "Hey, Frank and Dan, I love your show and have been listening for about a year now. I'm writing to see if you have any advice for me." Uh-oh. Says someone's asking us for advice again, Frank. It's like they don't know who we are. All right. All advice is given with whole caseloads of salt. A Lot's wife worth of salt. Take it with that much salt. Sorry, I'm writing to see if you have any advice for me on how to deal with a Christmas present that my Christian parents gave to me and my husband, who are both atheists. They gave us a gift, a gift certificate to the Family Life Marriage Weekend to Remember.
Oh, God.
In case you don't know what that is, it is a marriage conference run. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If a picture didn't flash into everybody's mind, you are luckier than I am, because I think I've got an entirely accurate image in my head, or an idea of what this is. I think I know exactly what it is.
But let's hear what it is.
Yeah, it is a marriage conference run by Family Life, a Christian organization where they have large Christian-focused meeting sessions on how to improve your marriage by using the Bible as a reference. Cue the eye rolls.
Ooh, yeah.
My question is, should we go? Our immediate reaction was hell no, but then we were thinking it might be interesting and fun to go, but wear pride t-shirts and atheist merchandise. We also don't want to offend my parents, who are very caring and wonderful people, by throwing away a present that probably cost them a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Thanks for your insight and help.
Well, here's the deal. If you I would
do not go to this thing.
No.
Do not go to this thing.
No.
Just because it's wasting their money doesn't mean it needs to waste your time. My God, I can't imagine how... Frank, you and I have gone to certain events and certain places just for the sake of this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I always go thinking, oh, this will probably be funny. This will probably be it'll be good for a laugh at least. It's not.
See, I
it's just
totally 100% support them in this sick desire to go to it and because they already have the idea to wear to be a little subversive, right? And go and have a little bit of fun with the thing. Yeah. They don't have to stay, right? Like any longer than they want to. And if they have the inclination to go and do that, because I would say for me, absolutely not. I'm not going to this thing. But the moment I heard that they're like playing around with the idea, I'm like, more power to you. Like, you want to go and report back. I'd love to hear some stories about this thing. Right.
I say no. And here's why. Here's what, because you're going to feel just like, yeah, I get it. You want to go and fuck with people and make them feel weird and whatever. No, you're just going to be ostracized. You're going to be passive aggressive at, and possibly aggressive at. It's just not going to be fun. Like, it feels like it's like the idea seems fun and funny, and it's just going to end up being miserable. And even if it's not, here's what it's not going to be. I'll tell you what it's never going to be. Useful for your marriage.
But that's the one thing that we know. Would be going. That's literally like.
I understand that, but okay, Frank, you've given your take. I'm not going to dispute it. That is one way to go. My take is, don't go to this thing. And if your parents ask you about it, I say that is an opportunity to have a gentle discussion with them that says something along the lines of, no, Mom, we didn't go to the thing because it's, that was not for us. We've told you who we are, and we felt a little dishonored that you got something that doesn't honor our beliefs and that tries to foist your beliefs on us. Now, I know you didn't mean any offense by it, but you should know that you're the one, we didn't do something that was offensive to you. You did something that was offensive to us. And you should know that. We're not mad.
Dan, like, you're, I know you always have like an impulse toward healthy relationships.
That is the best beginning of a Dan, you're an idiot that I've ever heard in my life.
But
look, Dan, I understand that you believe in.
But if you gave me that advice after my parents had done something similar, I would just be like, you don't know my parents.
Well, look, I don't know anybody's parents, so Naomi has to make their own decision.
Right.
But it sounds like it's actually a warm relationship and might be worth setting a boundary in that relationship. However you do it. Anyway.
Or just go fuck around and have a good time. I'm with you on that one.
Or sell the damn tickets on, the internet and make some money off
scalp them.
Go buy something that you want.
That's not a bad idea.
But
if it's scalpable in some way.
If it's scalpable, scalp like the wind. Let some Christian person go and ruin their marriage.
Oh, golly. No kidding.
Okay. We had a voicemail, did we not?
We do. Indeed, Dan. We actually have a couple. The first one that I want to play is a listener sharing how he deals with the holidays and his kids.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Frank and Dan. This is Jake in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was just listening to your podcast talking about the holiday spirit and Christmas. I was raised Jewish, and I'm married to a lady that was raised Catholic, and we have 2 kids, and we have a lot of fun around Christmas, and we light the Hanukkah candles and do all that stuff, but no prayers, keep God out of it, so we're doing our part to get Christ out of Christmas. But I also wanted to point out one thing I've done with my kids is I've always explained that Santa's make-believe and fun, and I use that as an opportunity to explain that there's also adults that enjoy pretending their whole lives about Jesus and God and those types of beliefs. So I use it as a chance to sort of equate Santa, the Easter Bunny, and all that stuff with religious beliefs so that they have that in their mind. But I always just do it in a fun way, make the holidays fun. So anyway, Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, Jake, you're going to be in trouble. Your kid is going to get sent home from school at some point for hurting a teacher's feelings.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
That's not true. That's like Santa. Those aren't. Okay, well, now you've given away that Santa's not real and Jesus isn't real to all of the children. No. No, I totally get it. I mean, yeah.
That's great.
But here's the truth. The truth is that the big shock that is now going to happen isn't going to be that Santa's not real for your kids. The shock is going to be, wait a minute, Dad was lying. These grown-ups actually believe this Jesus crap. They're not pretending.
Yeah.
They actually believe it.
Yeah.
That's going to be the problem. All right. So this is from Ty. Ty sent us this. Ty says, "Hi, Frank and Dan. Here's a story for you. I actually wrote into you guys about 4 or 5 years ago and told you about my wife, who was Mormon, mainly because that is what she grew up with, and it was what was expected of her. She didn't have a strong testimony or even a real testimony. That's such Mormon speak. She didn't have a strong testimony or even a real understanding of what the church believed. Anytime I would try pointing out any flaws with the church, she would just get frustrated and mad, but didn't help her get out of the church. I have never been Mormon. I grew up Catholic, left the church about 11 years ago. But I went to church with her and our kids to be supportive. A lot of people at church had no idea I wasn't a member. 2020 was the turning point for us, as I'm sure it was for many others. We had an excuse to not go to church and realized it's really nice and never went back. Yeah.
Welcome.
Almost all of the people we liked at church also got out, and they formed a support group.
Oh, that's
a
awesome.
Facebook group. Have meetups at coffee shops and wineries and sharing their stories.
That's great.
I think it's really cool and wish more people had that kind of support when leaving religion. That's amazing.
That's amazing that the pandemic gave the timing or provided the timing, right?
Yeah.
For people just to go through it at the same time, right? To come to the same conclusion. Everybody's kind of processing, coming to the same conclusion of like, why are we still doing this? Right.
Yeah.
And then they make it official and there's a bunch of other people. Oh, God, lucky ducks.
Yeah. Right.
Having other people processing it at the same time.
I got to say, we may have other listeners who don't know, who have had the same experience, but don't know that there are groups out there that exist.
Yeah.
Poke around a bit.
Yeah.
You might be surprised.
Yeah. That's great.
Because a lot of people didn't go to their church, whether it be Mormon or whatever, for like a year. Because if you skip 3 weeks of church, it doesn't sink in.
All right.
But if you skip a few months of church and then half a year of church, suddenly you start to go, hang on. Do you know what happened? My life got better. Sundays became way less shitty. Anyway, we have another voicemail.
We do, from a listener who points out that there are legitimate reasons to not like Christmas.
Aha! All right, let's hear it.
Hi, guys. I was listening to this week's episode right before Christmas. The discussion at the end talking about cures for humbuggery. I think it's important that we make space for people who have real, sincere, traumas around the holidays, because that's not a small number of people, I think. I mean, speaking for myself, I'm trying to come to a place where I just don't ruin it for everybody else. It's December 22nd, and I'm trying to make myself put up the Christmas tree in the living room for my disabled mother, because she really needs that Christmas tree to make it through December. And I really can't stand to have to interact with it, to actually do the thing, because of our injuries conflicting with each other. It's okay to not like Christmas. Find your own thing. Make your own peace. And I just try not to ruin it for other people.
Well, thank you so much for that call.
Yeah.
100%. If that doesn't convince everyone that, don't foist whatever your shit is.
Yeah.
Like it's important not to try to yuck other people's yums, and I appreciate that. But also, don't try to yum other people's yucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty important too. There's such a thing as toxic positivity, and we don't need any toxicity. We don't need toxic negativity, and we don't need toxic positivity. Let's all just be gentle with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's all just make space for everybody's thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you love Christmas and it's your favorite, great. Don't force it on anybody. Don't try to make anybody else merry. And if you hate Christmas and it's hard for you and you've got trauma surrounding it and whatever, great.
Yeah.
But also don't try to tell anybody that they're being shitheads for celebrating.
Right.
Let's all just make that space.
Yeah.
I love it. That's exactly right.
And be ready to be surprised by somebody's request, right?
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes it's in that reaction, right? That moment of because trauma around the holidays, right? Like,
Some people can't even imagine.
What are you
such a thing.
talking about? It's
Right?
the most glorious time of the year.
There's a whole song about how it's the most wonderful time of the year. This is a song.
Right. Just be ready to all right, yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Take it in,
Yep.
process it. And then look, you don't have to celebrate all of your things with all of your people.
Exactly.
You can celebrate it with
Yep.
the people that celebrate and go and do something else with the people who don't.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
One last email from Steve, friend of the show, Steve, who says, "Hi, Frank and Dan. Regarding last week's segment on countries where free thought ain't, Secular Rescue, a program of the Center for Inquiry, literally helps safely secure writers, bloggers, publishers, and activists who find themselves in mortal danger where apostasy is a capital offense. Some listeners might deem them worthy of a buck or two. And I think that that's a great idea. Go and Google them, and if you think it's a good idea, shoot a few bucks their way. I think that's a fantastic.
Say the name one more time.
It's called Secular Rescue, and their URL is secular-rescue.org.
Nice.
And that sounds like an actual need out there in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm supportive of that. Well, Frank, we have some folks to thank.
We do indeed.
And I'm going to launch us off. So Casey is a new, these are people that gave over on PayPal. If you want to give us money, and you should, you go to thankgodimatheist.com and you click on the support us thing. Now, what may be confusing for some, and we're going to work on this, but what may be confusing for some is that the Patreon link kind of looks like it's an ad on the side of the page.
Yeah.
And then the PayPal links look like links. Anyway, all of it is places that you should be looking. So don't be confused by that. If you want to be a patron over on Patreon, because there's a couple of little extras, if you can get the Frank and Dan diaries, etc. Then you click on the banner ad on the side of the page. If you want to give a one-time donation, or you'd rather do monthly rather than per episode, then you can go to PayPal. That's how it all breaks down.
Yeah.
So these are PayPal people. Casey gave us a one-time donation. We're going to give Casey the rank of teacher in terms of the magic powers that we dole out. Thank you so much, Casey. We have a new deacon in Soraya. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you so much. Timothy is now a new teacher. So
yeah.
These are, and like I say, these names don't sound that fancy. Teacher, deacon, whatever. Oh no, you get powers, my friend. You get priesthood powers. And also thanks to Ron, who is now a give me one of the things that has that's in the Melchizedek priesthood, Frank.
An elder?
Yes, okay. Ron, who gave us a very generous one-time donation. You are now an elder. Wait, I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, yes. Philida gave us a one-time donation. Philida, who is a supporter over on Patreon, but just decided to kick a few extra bucks our way. Thank you so much.
She's a 70 then.
Yeah, you are now. Yeah, that's right.
That's not even
You're now an apostle.
You can't even get that on Patreon. We're not even offering a 70.
That's right. All right. And we have some new patrons.
We do, Dan. We have 2 new patrons. There's Michelle, who's a new teacher.
Wow. Thanks, Michelle.
And I fucking love you guys is a new teacher as well. So thank you.
We fucking love you back. Thank you so much.
So thank you to the both of you. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up.
Dan.
Tragedy.
Oh, such a
tragedy has struck.
Such a sad time, Dan. Oh.
A very old man has died.
Oh, my favorite of all of the Pope Benedicts. Pope Benedict XVI. May there
undeniably the best Pope Benedict there has ever been.
May there never be another Pope Benedict.
Was he the first? Was he the only Pope Benedict?
No, he's the 16th.
Oh, okay.
That's where the joke was. Yeah, sorry. I guess I probably should have
I'm thinking of Francis, he's the first Pope Francis. So he's the only undeniably best Pope Francis.
Yeah, no, that's true. So last week, Pope Francis, he was getting concerned for his good friend, Pope Benedict.
Who he probably doesn't like at all.
And he asked the world to please pray. Please, everybody, let's save Benedict's life through prayer. He's an old man, and if nothing else, he probably would like to just know that you're thinking about him. Nope, God was having nothing of it, and has took young Pope Benedict the 16th before his time, I'm afraid.
95 years young.
He had many more screeds to write in his life about the liberalization of the church and the homosexuals and the need for bishops to stay celibate.
Yeah,
in theory,
right?
And the need to protect these poor priests as they're being accused, so oftenly accused of horrible things. He just can't believe it. He can't believe a priest would ever do anything to a child.
In his day, a little bit of pedophilia was just one of the perks of the gig.
Well,
you just don't talk about it. You just keep it down on the down low. You don't talk about it. That's how we did it.
Well, somehow we missed this, Dan. I'm pretty sure we did not talk about this on the show. In April of 2019, Benedict actually discussed the sex abuse crisis in a public letter, claiming that it was caused in part by the sexual revolution of the 1960s.
Of course.
And the liberalization of the church's moral teachings. That's what led these priests.
That was the problem.
That
was the real problem.
Sexually abused children. That's what.
The second a lady burned a bra or whatever.
The first pedophilic priest.
Yeah. It had never happened before then.
Yeah.
It had just never happened.
Absolutely.
Here's what I'm fascinated by. Because technically, he's not the Pope.
Right.
But he is the Pope Emeritus. And the thing is, there is look, when a Pope dies, when a sitting Pope dies, which is kind of all we've had for 500 years, there's a whole litany of rites and rituals that happen. And it's all spelled out. It's known. Yeah. They do all the things. They bonk his head with a hammer or whatever they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually do that. But Dan Brown says they do. I don't know. Anyway, there's just a whole bunch of things that you do when the Pope dies. But nobody knows what you do when the Pope Emeritus dies. The Pope's alive, but the Pope has died.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Do they have to elect a new Pope Emeritus now?
I think they should. Go into conclave. Everyone to conclave. We have to have a new Pope Emeritus. So yeah, like a pope dies, but they don't get a lot of the fun stuff. The smoke, we don't get to know what color smoke's going to happen.
Oh my God, I know.
There's a whole bunch of shit we just don't get to know. We don't get to have it. I'll tell you this, 2 months ago, if this had happened a month ago, I'm in Rome.
Oh man, Dan.
Why didn't I get to be there?
Oh.
I mean, it would have been like, here's the question. Okay, Frank, you're in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
The Pope dies.
Yeah.
Do you try to go to the Vatican?
I mean, get near it, don't you?
Yeah, I think you gotta.
Just to
Here's
see
the thing.
the all the crazy coming out.
All the madness.
It's a festival. It's a crazy.
It kind of is.
It's a crazy time in Rome, and especially St. Peter's Square.
People like the last time a pope died, which what was that? John Paul II?
Yeah. It was a while ago.
A while ago.
Yeah.
People were camping out like overnight to stand in the line to go and sort of look at him just lying in state in the basilica in St. Peter's.
Yeah, I don't get that. Just like the Queen. I don't get it.
I don't know. There's something about like here's the thing. If I could do it, if I had the time and if I wasn't going to lose out on a bunch of stuff, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I saw the dead Pope. I don't know. Like everyone who goes to Rome is like, I saw the Pantheon. I saw the Colosseum. But how many people are like, yeah, I literally like witnessed with my eyeballs a dead Pope. It's just a different story. It's just a different story you get to tell.
I mean, maybe if they let everyone have a hammer, right?
Pass it out. Everybody take a bang.
Yeah, you walk by, a little knock, knock.
I like it.
That should be the tradition.
Now you're thinking. Although, if I know the Catholic Church, you got to pay extra. That's going to cost you. That one's going to be expensive.
No, you want
worth it. You 100% worth it, but it's going to cost you.
You want to just knock off your own little relic, right? You gotta.
Yeah.
I got Pope Benedict's finger.
I got a chip of skull.
Oh God. Gross.
Little skull chip. I'll sell it to you. Like this goes to the highest cathedral bidder. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Here's a question for you. They all do, but does this Pope get sainted? And if so, when? How long? I don't think Francis has it in him to what do they call it? Not beatify. Canonize? No, God damn it, the word's not coming.
Isn't it canonize?
Anyway, I don't think Francis has it in him to make this guy a saint. I think it's the probably the dude after Francis.
I don't know. I think it's good. This one's got to sit for a minute.
Also, I hope so.
Also because like nobody in the world wants this guy showing up and healing their knee or something, right? Like
there is, here's what happens.
Like, nobody's praying for Benedict to help them out of a tight spot, right?
Here are the miracles that Benedict is going to perform. Because, the saint, in order to be a saint, you got to have performed some miracles. You got to have verified miracles. Benedict's verified miracles are going to be like, my kid was saying he was gay, and then I prayed to Saint Benedict, and Benedict came and ungayed my boy.
And gave me a lovely pair of Prada slippers.
You know what? My kid was accusing our priest of being of doing horrible things to him, but I prayed to Pope Benedict, and now my kid is recanting his testimony. Praise Jesus! It's a miracle.
And he left me these wonderful Prada slippers. That's his calling card.
I think you're thinking of Santa Claus.
No, his calling card are the Prada slippers, right?
I love it.
That's how you know. That's how they actually confirm that it was Benedict that performed the miracle. He leaves a slipper.
He leaves it is a combination of a saint, of Santa Claus and of Cinderella. It's like he rolls them all into one. It's a good time for everybody. A good time was had by all.
Yeah, that's how.
Now that Benny.
That's how you actually pick the next Pope Emeritus. Is you have to go and find the cardinal whose foot fits into the slipper. He was very petite. He was a very petite man.
He was a petite.
A size, size
very
3 foot, you know.
He had very stern German feet. They were very... You have to...
Oh, golly.
You have to match the sternness of it. I'm guessing he had there was a rigidity to that Benedictine foot.
Well, they were very short, but very wide.
And angry. There's just something angry about his feet. I'm guessing that there were toenail indentations in the front of those
Probably
slippers.
claws is what I'm...
Claws. Yeah. And that's how we get Santa Claus.
Shit.
So go out and celebrate in the traditional way. Make yourself some eggs Benedict, and cross yourself 3 times. Say 2 Our Fathers and 5.
No, not that stuff.
Fuck yous and
yeah. But I do like the idea of some eggs Benedict. That's going to be a tradition now. December 31st from here on out is Eggs Benedict Day.
Is Eggs Benedict in honor of as a fuck eulogy to the Pope Emeritus.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, listen, if you would like to tell us about your experience seeing a dead pope or about anything else, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
Or join one of our members-only lounges. You actually don't have to be a member of anything except the lounge.
Yeah.
Go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/members only.
Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their beautiful music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.